Hi guys, this is Pete, and this is my point of view on United's Carabao Cup game versus Burnley yesterday, which United won 2-0. I just wanted to say before I get started, obviously this is my first video for a while. I've been a little bit ill for quite a bit, so that's why I've not put out any content, but now I'm hoping to steadily be putting stuff out. Now I'm feeling a lot better, so cheers for tuning in, guys. Today's video is sponsored by the guys over at Ball Tactics. Check out their website for match previews and reviews for a great insight into the game with some tongue-in-cheek humour. They're putting out some great stuff, guys, so do me a favour, check them out. Some really great stuff going on there, so it'd be a massive favour for me for you to check that out. So today I'm going to just go into my thoughts on the game, a little man of the match poll that I put out there, and then I'll do player ratings. So obviously my thoughts on the game, thought it was a good first performance back. Obviously been a while since United had played that game against Fulham, and obviously it was a bit of a thing that yesterday I didn't put out a match preview because I had no idea of what players were available really. I was trying to keep up on team news, but it wasn't really clear on who would be playing, who wouldn't, so that's why I didn't do a match preview. But obviously, when I see the teams put out yesterday and seeing that Casemiro would be playing centre-back alongside Lindelof, obviously, I was a little bit unsure of what we was going to see because I've not seen Casemiro play in that position too many times. Obviously, he's pretty tall, good on the ball, so I thought he'd be decent playing out the back, and I weren't worried about him in the air. I was just intrigued to see how we would play, and to be honest, I was pleasantly surprised. I thought Casemiro was superb yesterday, just brilliant for me. I also thought Lindelof played well. The other player that really caught my eye in defence was Wan-Bissaka. To be honest, that was the best game I've seen Wan-Bissaka play for United for possibly 2 years. Thought he was really good. He actually, for me, impressed me really well and got into my man of the match poll, which I'm going to talk about in a bit. But yeah, for me, Casemiro was superb in that defence. I thought Malacia had a good game, just steady. I just don't think he offers quite as much as Luke Shaw right now, but I think he's a young player and he's going to be improving with every game that he has, and I thought it was a steady performance from him. Then, obviously, in the midfield, I feel like Eriksen played well, scored a goal, did really well. McTominay, I think the less said about that performance, the better. I just, again, a game against the Championship midfield that he was totally dominated in for me. The game passed him by, just... when Casemiro came in, I think McTominay got a bit of a kick up the arse, but then I think yesterday wasn't his best performance. Obviously, it's been a while since they've played competitively, so I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I wasn't super impressed by that performance. And then I thought Fernandes had a decent game. I don't think he was superb, but some of his passes were brilliant that came off. Obviously, with Fernandes, it's always high risk, high reward. And I think he played okay. He set up it was the pass before Wan-Bissaka's cross, obviously, that made the goal. Superb ball, and there was a ball out to Rashford where Rashford had a chance to score. He should have maybe done a little bit better. He had a chance. Sorry, not Rashford had a chance to score. Ball out to Rashford that he played across to McTominay. That McTominay should have really scored, but fluffed his chance. Pretty awful finish, to be honest. Should have at least hit the target off that chance. So I think Fernandes had a good game. Rashford, obviously his goal was superb. Think he had a decent game. He was a little bit quiet in parts, but scored the goal and was quite threatening. And I think near the end of the game, he actually played a little bit better before he got subbed off. Garnacho was a little bit hit and miss. He had that one chance where he should have done much better, but didn't get enough contacts on the ball. Kind of hit off the keeper, came back to him, but couldn't do anything with it. But I thought Garnacho, he was okay. Didn't have his best game, but obviously we'll go into that properly in the player rating. And I thought Martial played pretty well. Obviously, he's not had loads of competitive football this year due to injuries and stuff, but I think he, held the ball well, links up play really well, which is something that we weren't seeing obviously when Ronaldo was playing and stuff. I think that's what he offers the team is, that like link to the other attacking players. He can hold up really well, he can run in behind. And I thought he had a pretty decent game. So now, before going to my player ratings, I'm just going to go on to Man of the Match poll I put out on Twitter. So I think it got 61 votes. The 4 players that I put out there for Man of the Match who impressed me the most was obviously Eriksen, I think, because he had a steady performance and he scored. Wan-Bissaka, Casemiro and Rashford. So we'll get into 4th place in the vote with 6% was Eriksen. Like I said, I think he had a steady game and obviously scored the goal. And then 3rd place in the poll with 11% was Wan-Bissaka. Like I said before, I think this was Wan-Bissaka's best game for 2-3 years for United. I think, he looked not too bad with the ball at his feet. Sometimes he still looks like Bambi on ice, but I think that was one of his better games yesterday. And obviously the assist was superb, obviously from that ball over the top from Fernandes, and then the ball across to Eriksen was perfect, especially on the stretch, like on a volley cross. It was a superb ball, and Eriksen just had the tap in. And I was quite impressed with him yesterday, and obviously with Dalot being injured, I think we're going to see quite a bit of Wan-Bissaka over the next couple of weeks. So it was nice that he, had a strong game yesterday, and hopefully he can carry that on against Forest in the next game. Then in 2nd place in the vote with 39% was Casemiro. For me, I thought Casemiro was superb. Obviously, I've not really seen him play centre-back before, but I thought he had a great game. His use of the ball, like first touch of the ball, worldy pass. There was loads of, just the playing out was superb from him. There was only one part in the game where obviously worried me a little bit, was right at the end. He played a ball across the defence that got intercepted, and we almost conceded from it. And McTominay did a similar one where we almost conceded as well. But, other than that, I thought Casemiro was superb. And then your guys' man of the match with 44% was Marcus Rashford. Obviously, I think with that goal, it was kind of nailed on that you might get man of the match. For me, I thought Casemiro was man of the match, but obviously with that goal, picking the ball up in his own half, running almost a full length of the pitch, taking on 2 players, and a lovely finish into the side netting, I kind of did expect for Rashford to get the man of the match, and obviously he did from you guys on Twitter. So I got a couple of comments on the poll, just of who you guys thought were the man of the match. So the first one was from Mr. Craigmore1, and he said Casemiro all day long. I agree with that. Like I said, I thought Casemiro was superb. Then the next tweet was from @bald_tactics, and he said an honourable mention for the dinner lady, Rashford. Love that. And he said, I like what he's on this season, but still, Casemiro was different gravy. Yeah, again, I agree with it. I do think Casemiro was just insane with the way he played out from the back, obviously, and he was really good defensively yesterday. They had a few chances, but most of their chances came down the left-hand side when I can't remember the name of that kid that was playing on there, but he was getting at Malacia a little bit. And then the last one on this was from @Martinez SZN, and he said, Bissaka, in my opinion, like I do think that Bissaka had one of his better games, and he was quite impressive. I just thought, obviously he got the assist and he did play well, but I think Casemiro and Rashford were just that little bit better for me. But obviously that's my opinion. I do respect that Paul reckons that Wan-Bissaka was a man of the match. So now I'm just going to do a quick thing into my match rating. I'm just going to do it for the starting 11 because I can't remember all the subs off the top of my head. So in net, Dubravka. I'm going to give Dubravka a 5. I know he didn't concede, but he was really shaky yesterday. He to be honest, he made me feel nervous. He was where he came out and missed the ball, and then as he went to try and then punch the ball away, he punched it back towards his neck, and if it wasn't for Casemiro, it would have been an own goal. Obviously cleared it off the line, and then after that he had that where the ball got passed back to him, and he looked up trying to look for the pass before he controlled the ball, and the ball slipped past his foot and he had to chase it before it went into the net. Obviously he stopped it from going in, but he just made me feel a bit nervous. I don't think he's the answer. I don't think that we're gonna extend his deal like after the loan. I don't think we're gonna try and buy him. I just don't think he's the answer going forward. Like he's a decent backup for De Gea, but I just don't think he's the answer, in the future for me. Then so now we'll move on to right back Wan-Bissaka. I'm going to give Bissaka an 8. Like I say, I enjoyed his performance. Sometimes he still does look a little bit like Bambi on ice. I just think he looks a bit ungainly on the ball. But he passed the ball relatively well. Superb assist. Good defensively. Don't remember him really getting beat one-on-one. So for me, great performance for him. I'd give him an 8. Yeah. Then moving into centre-backs, Casemiro. For me, my man of the match, I'm actually going to give him a 9. I thought he was superb. Obviously, there was one shaky moment late on, but other than that, I thought, his passing out from the back was insane. Really good defensively. Like I said, I've never seen him play centre-back before, but for me, off that one performance, he's most probably the 3rd or 4th best centre-back at the club. Obviously, I think Varane, Martinez, then you have Lindelof that you'd say is in front of him, but Casemiro, that performance, I can't imagine Maguire putting on that performance, and I think he's kind of cemented himself as an option if we need it in there, because he was superb. Obviously, I prefer him in the defensive midfield role, and he does those type of passes from there, but he just made me feel calm and confident. So that's why he's my man of the match and gets the 9. Lindelof, who played next to him, I think he was a steady performance. I'm going to give him a 7. Thought he was pretty good. He didn't, make me feel nervous. Had a good game. So for me, a 7. Not much more really to say. I think with Lindelof, he's always going to use the ball well. I think because we were so in control yesterday, he didn't really get challenged in behind too much playing against Ashley Barnes, and I think he coped with that challenge reasonably well, because Barnes is not a bad striker, pretty strong and stuff, and Lindelof stood up to that challenge well, so he gets a 7. Then on to left back Malacia. I'm going to give Malacia a 6. I think it was a steady performance, but nothing special, just an average. I think he doesn't offer us as much going forward as Luke Shaw, but he's a very good defender, and he does get forward. He's just a little bit too direct for me. I'd like him, to try a few more overlaps and to pass the ball a little bit, and make those overlapping runs that Shaw does so well when he plays on that left hand side, especially when he plays with Rashford. So for me, just a steady performance and a 6. Then moving into midfield, start with McTominay, 4. I just didn't enjoy the performance whatsoever. And to be honest, the last couple of performances I've seen from McTominay, I actually rated him quite high in the ratings that I've done previous. But I just think yesterday he was back to his old self, and it was a bit poor. Could have gave a goal away with that sloppy pass that he did across the defence, and just a bit lacklustre yesterday. There was a few times he got forward and he looked alright, but I just think defensively he wasn't great. Obviously, and I think because I compare him so much to Casemiro in that role as well, I think that he just doesn't inspire the same confidence, doesn't do the same things, and I think he kind of struggled against that Championship midfield a little bit too much for me. Now moving on to Eriksen, I'm going to give Eriksen a 7. Obviously scored a goal, was steady, does the simple things really well. He's got an engine on him. He's always looking forward. He's always, looking at the cheeky little 1-2s. He's always trying to, get the ball into the creative plays into your Fernandez, and he's, trying it. He's always trying to be a threat, and I enjoyed his performance yesterday, but he gets a 7. Then we move on to Fernandez as the attacking midfielder. I'm going to give Fernandez a 7. Obviously, there was a couple of really good balls, but also sometimes he's a little bit wasteful, but I don't want to hold that against him because that's Fernandez. He's high risk, high reward. And obviously we did get the reward from that pass he did over to Wan-Bissaka, which was a lovely ball. And for me, for a decent performance, he gets a 7. Obviously, I'd like to see him, be a bit more accurate with his passing, but I'm not really gonna gripe on him too much because, like I said, I thought he was decent. And the thing I love about Fernandez every time he plays is his passion. He's always trying his hardest. Obviously, he got booked yesterday, which means he misses the next game, whoever that's going to be against. That's a bit worrying because obviously the player you'd bring in would be Van der Beek, and he's not been great lately. So it does make me feel a little bit nervous for the next game in the Carabao Cup, but we'll have to see. Then we move on to the wingers. Obviously, we had on one side on the right Rashford. I'm going to give Rashford an 8. Obviously, I thought he had a good game. Obviously, once in the second half there was subs. He got first moved to the left, and then he got moved into centre forward before he came off. But I thought, obviously, that was the best performance I think I've seen Rashford do on the right for United. Obviously, putting a good couple of performances on the right for England that makes me think he can actually do it. He just never really looked motivated before playing on the right, like for United. And I think he played really well yesterday. And the goal was superb. Obviously, you can't argue it. It was your guy's man of the match. I thought it was a superb goal. Pick the ball up. He's like lightning, and he's super fast. And a couple of step overs. Sell the player with a little drop of the shoulder, come inside him, blast it into the side netting. Great goal. And for me, real decent performance. He was quiet at times, but gets an 8. Moving on to the other side, Garnacho. I'm going to give Garnacho a 6.5. I don't think I can give him a 7 because, he was a little bit quiet. You can see that the kid's definitely got talent, and I think he's going to get a lot of chances for the rest of this season. And I'm glad that he is going to get chances because I think there's a special player there. But I just think yesterday was a bit of a quieter performance. I think if he'd have got more onto that chance and he'd have scored it, I think he'd have took a lot of confidence and he'd have been on fire. But I think his confidence got a little bit knocked when he missed that chance. So that's why he gets a 6.5. And then we'll move on to Martial, who's, for me, was a 7. Obviously, he didn't score or anything, but I think he links up the play really well. And I like that side of his performances. Obviously, he had that chance that was saved by their keeper. Could have possibly scored, but obviously, keeper made a good save. But yeah, he had a good performance, and for me, I enjoyed it. So that's why he's got a 7. Like I said, I'm not going to go into all the subs because I can't remember all the subs that were made, to be honest. I know that Anthony came on and a couple of others back, and Williams and stuff, but I'd mostly give all the subs a steady 6. I can't mark them down, and I can't really give them more than an average 6. So yeah, I can't really go into too much detail on it because none of them really stuck out in my head of having a great performance, so I'll just give them all 6s. And then we'll move on to Ten Hag. Obviously, first game back, I'm going to give Ten Hag a 7. I think he got all his decisions right. Putting Casemiro into centre defence worked, and it was a good first game back for the lads, and a good performance, nice and steady, and obviously a good platform to build on for the rest of the season. So yeah, that's it from me, guys. Thanks for watching. Obviously, I'm going to be back more consistently making content now. Now I'm feeling better. Obviously, I will try and put out some more of the legend videos that I have been doing, but it'll kind of take a back seat to the games. Or I might be able to put out one a week or something, but we'll have to see. I won't be doing it over Christmas because obviously my kids are off school and I'll be spending a lot of time with them, but I will be doing previews and reviews of the matches during that time. So cheers for tuning in, guys. Obviously, thanks for watching, And like I say, I'm glad to be back. I'm happy to be making the videos again. So thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Peace, guys.